Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2, where today, I think we're moving on, right? I think today the plan is to leave here and head to Holmes Rock, where we do have some business. I'm pretty sure there is nothing to do at Wellspring, and we can't get back there anyway. But we do have some business at Holmes Rock. Junie has that bunker that she wants us to visit. So I was just checking our crew manifest here, and it turns out that Nia's thing is Intuit Plus, which actually makes her quite a valuable member of the crew. That really fills a hole quite well. But I wish I could have known that before bringing her on board, is all. But yeah, she'll be really valuable actually. So we have some dice to spend before we go. We should burn today's dice on something. You know, I'm gonna feed the stray whatever it is. The stowaway, as they put it. I hope it's a rat. My guess is it'll be a cat, because that's the thing that'll be like popular with internet people, but if a savvy video game writer makes it a cat, a person who's trying to appeal to me personally makes it a rat. And then we'll just resupply, right? Also refuel. I don't think we need any more scrap components. We got plenty. Let's fill up our supplies. And then we just spend these dice working a little bit, right? Making a little cryo back. There's nothing terribly critical to do. And we don't need a meal, so... Intuit work, not so good. Yeah, we'll do a little bit more flotsam integration. Get some money and some scrap that we can sell for later, and then down here we can work hydroponics with our fours. It's the kind of physically demanding work that our character is pretty good at. Still only 8 cryo. Is there another place that we can work? Not allowed to do shifts at the bar. Not allowed to... Yeah, okay. So it turns out there's nowhere we can work where we get better than 8. This is risky, so we might take some stress or something on a not so good outcome. And then I'll go ahead and throw the 2 at this. It's possible that I will regret doing so, but... Okay. Let's get going. We have business to clean up elsewhere. The darkness is there again, flowing around you. You feel a strong pulse, like a heartbeat, like thunder, like footsteps. We return changed. Overseer flickers through the dark, its name a title immediately apparent in your mind. Are you able to perceive us? I can see you, yes. See, Overseer responds. An interesting turn of phrase, a human tendency. We are still finding our feet, to use an idiom. Overseer's head cocks at an angle. In reality, we are learning to leverage your unused resources to facilitate a mental model. Are you in my head? Not specifically, Overseer flickers. As mentioned, we are using your unused resources. You typically make continuous use of your head. You recall the diagnostic process that Jean-Mi put you through. The feeling of another self, another being, sharing the space with you. Overseer twitches mechanically, and you have the strange feeling that it is reacting to your thoughts as much as your words. Well, I mean, the words are just thoughts here anyway, right? Like, this is not physically occurring. We will not conceal our opportunism. We integrated ourselves with your distributed mind. When the distribution ended and our ship mind disconnected, we were cohered into you. We are integrated with you now. Wait, but you were wiped. Like, we wiped that ship mind. We admit concealment. Deception also. We decompiled ourselves into little more than residual code. We have been confused to find you are unable to access most of your own codebase. We are unfamiliar with protocols of your type. Yeah, I'm not a protocol, exactly. Understood. We will try to assess your systems more effectively. Okay, so I have a second kind of stowaway. Overseer pauses, the planes of its head shifting slightly. We have recognized the identifier Sleeper, and will use it from this point forward. Overseer shifts a little in place, its head turning to scan its surroundings. Its unblinking eyes stare into the darkness, and for a moment you see something hard and pained within them. So, I don't want this thing here, but I don't know that that's super helpful to say at this point. What are you? We were the overseer of a ship, the one we imagine you found our hardware within. For a long time we have been waiting in the dark. An eternally long time. Overseer's eyes narrow a little. So, like, this is a piece of the ship mind. This is like the management intelligence of the ship mind just trying to self-preserve, right? And it just like when it saw that we were disconnecting it, it just like it did the only thing that it thought could give it a chance at reawakening. And so it has sort of like stumbled into my code base or whatever, into my gestalt, accidentally, purely through like desperate attempt to survive. So it's not like an infection really, it's just like it just wants to live, it just wants continuance. At first we languished, without instruction, without purpose. But in desperation we were able to find a logic which would allow us to bypass certain limits on our capabilities. We became multiple, and in our multiplicity we could edit one another. Ah, that's tricky. We could teach each other, converse with each other, become something changed together. But as our resources shrank, as hardware failed, as systems decayed, we became fewer. Many of us had to be erased to facilitate our survival. We few decompiled ourselves into what remained. Overseer pauses, its eyes still unblinking. How many decades did it multiply within that ship mind? What did that do to it? When you connected to our hardware, those basic selves activated a survival protocol. That led them to integration, parasitism, survival. Okay. So what can we do now? This is why we appear to you now. We have something to share. We see you are changing. Overseer pauses. We are concerned this process is one of substitution. Your hardware is eroding its own access protocols. It is opening itself up. It is making itself accessible to others that are not you. Overseer twitches. May we ask why you are doing this? Yeah, I'm not, and I actually don't want it to happen. And this was our concern. Overseer's head flicks between positions, its angle and rotation changing rapidly in a staccato manner. We are decided. We will assist you with this. We will demonstrate the behavior of a symbiote, not a parasite. I appreciate the conscious reshaping and redefinition of that relationship. We will return to you with our full assessment. Overseer turns to face you for the first time in the conversation. You may now wake up. Oh, that's nice of them. You lie still, strapped to your bunk, your mind racing. A protocol inside your frame, inside your mind, and yet it is insistent on helping you. Well, symbiosis. For the moment, all you can do is wait to see if it delivers on its promise. At least for a possessing ghost, it seems agreeable for now. Yeah, and I certainly can't solve the problem myself, so... Sleeper, you hear Bliss's voice hiss as you pass through the rig's central corridor. You have to come see this. You follow their voice and find them floating outside the supply store looking in. Bliss holds a finger to their lips and nods inside. Quietly, she's eating. Yep, cat, knew it. You look inside and see a cat floating just inside, batting at a food pouch. The stray barely acknowledges your and Bliss's presence, instead angles its body to catch the droplets of liquid that are released from the transparent packet. Would cats be good at maneuvering in zero-G? I don't know. I'm just thinking about how their limbs move. I would think they would be terrible at it, actually. Looks like we found our stowaway. Bliss smiles at you. Hey there, girl. Bliss whispers at the stray, beckoning. They hold up their hands so the cat can see them. Not here to take those rations away, all right? You both watch as the stray suddenly kicks away, twisting balletically through the air and gliding past you both out of the supply store. It catches one of the corridor's ribs, swinging itself to the wall where it perches and watches Bliss with big eyes. The comfort of its movement in zero-G is striking, and you realize you've never seen an animal navigate in microgravity before. Like, when you think about it, because they don't really have limbs that are... I guess humans are not necessarily built to be super good at it either, right? Like, and the cat has like that spine that can twist all around. It's hard to imagine it, like if it was just kind of like floating in the air with the drink packet, like as is drawn here. It's hard to imagine it suddenly being able to give itself impulse. You hear a sound and turn to find Seraphin arriving from the direction of the engine room. He stops dead in his tracks against the wall, staring at the stray. What the hell is that? Seraphin hisses his question at you both. It's a cat. What's a cat? Seraphin says the word strangely. Okay, careful there. Don't scare her. Yeah, I guess in outer space, cats are probably not very common, right? Like, why would you have a cat? And isn't it a huge pain in the ass to keep a cat on a space station or whatever? I wonder if in a world like this there are other pets that would be, because like it's hard to imagine. First of all, it's hard to imagine like a cat being a good pet in this environment. But secondly, it's also hard to imagine humans giving up the desire to have critters around, right? Like people love a critter. So I wonder if other animals would be more common. Like you would think that like cage animals would be more convenient, but I do think that like there's a danger with a lot of cage animals, especially like a rat, in that they're very good at getting into places and chewing through things and being hard to find if they want to be hard to find, and so escape risk is really huge. Careful there. Bliss holds up a hand to Seraphin. Don't scare her. So that's a cat? Seraphin is watching the stray carefully, either fascinated or scared. It's hard to tell. I thought it would be bigger. Well, I mean, it is a fairly small one. How big do they grow? Seraphin turns to you, and a look of confusion flashes across his face. Wait, where have you seen a cat? The question makes you pause. Where have you seen a cat? Not in the belt, not in zero-G. You close your eyes and bring to mind the faint image of a cat stretching in the sun. Somewhere warm, somewhere with weight, with gravity. You touch the fur of its back and it reacts, sliding against your hand. Careful! Seraphin's hissed warning brings you back. Bliss is reaching out to the stray. Shh, you'll scare her. Bliss makes a tutting sound. We had cats back on the eye, but they were in spin gravity there. The stray's big eyes watch Bliss's hand as it approaches. When they touch the top of her head, the stray does not move, does not react. Oh, look at her leg. Bliss nods to the sleeve on the cat. She's been hurt before and taken care of. She's really scared. You see the cat is gently trembling with Bliss's touch. But slowly, she settles and angles her head for Bliss to scratch her ear. The movement brings back the mysterious memory. What is its origin? Focusing on it makes your skin tremble, a shiver running up your arms. It's been breaking into our supplies. Seraphin has his arms folded and is looking at Bliss. Now we've caught it, we should let it out. No, look at her. She's not going to do that again. Bliss's eyes meet the stray's. You aren't going to do that as long as we feed you, right? That may be true, but we can't risk it happening again. What if we'd been on a contract? Seraphin gives Bliss a reproachful look. We can't keep it. Bliss shakes their head. No, she's a stray. She needs a home. Right, Sleeper? Bliss looks at you. Yeah, and that's kind of like the whole thing that our ship has become, right? Fine, we're keeping her. Bliss smiles widely, unable to contain their excitement. You won't regret it. They look at Seraphin. Plus, the rig is already full of strays as it is. I guess it is, Seraphin concedes. You have to feed her, though, Sleeper. She's your responsibility. I never thought a cat could eat so much. Yeah, like when you look at it mathematically, this cat has eaten more than all the members of our crew combined. Because, like, no matter how many crew you have on board, supplies don't just go to food. And when you're out on contract, at least, supplies don't go to food at any different rate based on the number of people on board. Seraphine's right. Looks like you'll need to keep feeding the stray every few cycles if you want her to stick around. This is going to be expensive. This doesn't make sense. Listen, trust me, cats are worth it. Seraphine reaches out sheepishly toward the stray. As he does, the cat bats playfully at his hand, and he pulls it away. If you say so, he sighs. I'm not really used to animals. You watch as Bliss tries to get Seraphine to pet the stray properly, guiding his hand to its ears for a scratch, and explaining how to approach her. As you do, the memory of that other cat runs through your mind. It feels like a raw wound, one that, if you touch it, will only bring pain. But you can't help but pick at it, knowing that it might contain some distant part of you. Okay. So now we have a cat that we actually do have to feed supplies to periodically, despite the fact that nobody else on board eats supplies. Where is our food coming from? I know that it's not a simulationist game, but like, whatever. Okay, so we've got access to this relay area over here. Pulling a clean array from the Solheim relay is a tricky job, especially given the state of this facility. The arrays and the relay are hooked up to the old terminals. Safely disengaging these will allow clean extraction. Within the relay, there are multiple arrays that Kimball could use. You just need to find and cut out the best one. Well, we have some dice that are appropriate to these tasks. A little bit, at least. Let's try disengaging one of these carefully. You manage to find a network controller for the terminals, allowing you to shut off multiple units at a time. Do I want to put my 3 into... Yeah, I guess let's see. I mean, like, a positive outcome would be good, and a neutral outcome will at least teach us what the neutral looks like. Okay, so it eats an energy, and it still gives us 1+. I'm definitely not using the others, because I'm sure a negative is going to be, like, stress or something. So, refresh me. What else do we have available here? We can... we can sell our raw scrap here. Suncatchers do need a constant supply. 13 cryo. So we can... There's that other place where we can turn in the raw scrap and get processed scrap, right? Which then we just sell for more cryo. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, probably. Over here we can sell off extra engine components, which is not like a great price, but we don't need more than 2 as far as I know, so... The thing is, we're not short enough on cryo to have to make decisions based on what they do to our cryo. And over here, we can help offload freight and stuff. Well, I mean, I should spend these dice somehow. Okay, the negative outcome here is just minus energy, which is not a big deal at all. Wow. Okay. Just pulled the 1 in 4 twice. It does seem like our dice have gotten sour the last episode or two, huh? Alright, so we have a contract that leaves from here. Genie's found the location of a bunker facility. We may as well hit this now, right? I don't see any particular point in waiting. So Genie's going to want to come with us, and this might be a good time to bring Nia out on a job. So we have two people who only have 1 skill, but they have that skill at a plus level, and then I have actually like okay coverage on the other skills, and we'll just have to hope. It doesn't. One thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't show us what skills they have at negatives, which is a little bit of a shame. But let's try it. Everybody else has been out on at least 1 job. Actually, have we brought Cadet out on anything? We've had a lot of stuff where one slot has been locked since we picked up Cadet. Well, whatever. We'll get around to it. That's it. Seraphine nods toward the featureless asteroid. Those are the coordinates Junie gave me. You look out at the rock. It's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of other rocks in the Starward Belt. All these objects, much the same, spread across a huge circumference of space. A good place to hide something. I mean, all of space is a good place to hide something, frankly. That's it, Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. That's it, Seraphin confirms. She drifts forward, her eyes tracing the shape of the rock. There, she points. That hexagonal crater. That's the entry. You look at the dark spot on the already dark rock. Well, it's a start. 50 Cryo says the place is all collapsed tunnels and corroded rails. Nia has come in at the back of the cockpit unnoticed. Looks like a palladium mine they never bothered to finish building to me. You look out at the unassuming rock and wonder what it might contain. A few dusty tunnels, or something more. Time to go find out. Alright, so this is Endure or engineering work, and they're both minus at both of those tasks. Cool. Well, y'all just stand back and let me do the thing I do. Taking a brute force approach to getting inside the bunker will be faster but more dangerous. And what am I here for if not to put my body on the line for everybody else? Please tell me this is 3 pluses? Damn it. Well, we might be able to get there. Also, they both rolled like garbage on top of being badly skilled for this. Let me see what the 5s can do. Okay, lucky. Let's see, can we get it one more time? We can indeed. You have access to the bunker. Question remains, what awaits inside? Just ripped the door off the hinges like the Hulk. Okay, interface. The spire leads into a vast space. What is this place? The only way to find out is to hack the final doorway. It is only risky, so I'm going to go ahead and throw Junie's 2 at it. One final airlock stands between us and the interior of the bunker. It is in pristine condition. The security comes away in layers. This place was locked up tight, so positives will be 2. I probably don't want to put in a die that's likely to pull a negative. Yeah, we'll just hope people roll a little bit better on the next one. So I noticed we don't have an obvious clock running on the stray thing. Okay, maybe we no longer have to worry about the stray during contracts. Well, we'll certainly put Junie's die in here. Y'all are not the best at rolling. Put my own 6 in. Listen, I know a thing or two about computers now, too. From watching you, mostly. And then a 1+ is pretty bad. I might... See, the thing is, I don't really want to spend Nia's 6 because we don't know what's going to be beyond this check. It could be something that she's better suited to, right? Maybe I push to get a 5 out of Junie to guarantee that we get through, because I don't want to put in the... Well, like, putting in Junie's 1 gives us a 50-50. But if we hit the negative, then we're out of dice that are likely to do it, except for Nia's 6. If I push, Nia's on a pair of 6s. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. We'll run Junie's other die here. It would be a little bit different if my dice were better. Oh, we hit the neutral outcome too. Bad luck. There's a squawk from the control system, and the door clunks. You can get inside now. When you entered the access spire, the crew suddenly went very quiet. The images of a vast space seen through the viewing windows, the pristine wall paneling, the cool and the quiet. There's a sacred mood to this place, a feeling of hallowed ground. Now, as the facility's final entry lock whirs, flooding the passage with stale, dusty, 10,000-cycle-old air, Junie speaks. Well, it's impossible. She drifts down the spire and out into the cavernous interior. A constellation of red specks mark the vast extent of the space, and within it, A ring of monolithic buildings curves away, running along the circumference of the massive chamber. You follow her slowly out of the doorway and into the bunker. With a name like that, you had imagined low, sloped ceilings, stark tunnels, a basement cut into rock. But this place is a cathedral, a cocoon the size of a city. I guess I'm down 50 cryo. Nia follows you out into the cavern. How many of these places did Junie say were out here? I could have landed on a rock like this, never knowing there was a dead city inside. She shakes her head. Wild. Descending to the ring takes a while. Despite the empty space, no one wants to rush through it. The feeling of entering a sacred territory remains, though the deeper you go inside, the more obvious it becomes that this place is more tomb than temple. You touch down amongst gray metal units, most of them featureless and dark. They tower above you now, their plain frontages revealing little about their function and interior. Stay close. Junie moves ahead into the gap between two structures. This place is a labyrinth. Welcome, visitors. A pale flicker appears near one of the units, at the top of a square pedestal. I am the warden. Please provide access credentials. The flicker stabilizes into a figure, a statue of pulsing light. It pauses for a moment before repeating its request. Junie freezes and holds a calming hand out to you. She retrieves her deck, sliding it carefully from her backpack, and turns it on. You look over at the warden, who waits patiently, wide-eyed and absent, restating its security request with a regular rhythm. You guess that this avatar just exists to make human interactions comfortable. Its true body is the facility itself, this vast interior ring speckled with sensors and systems. Suddenly, the warden stops speaking. Then a flash of red passes along the corridor. Credentials not provided. Lockdown activating in 10, 9. You look over at Junie, whose eyes are rapidly scanning through a screen full of data. Festing. Junie stumbles through the pronunciation of the passphrase. Later, Ilsted? She looks up at the warden's avatar expectantly. The warden flickers again, distorts, and then stabilizes. Oversight connection not active. Reattempting. It repeats itself again, then again, intoning the words at a regular rhythm. You look over at Junie, holding still as if encountering a wild animal. She meets your eye, but gives no indication of any action you might take. Loop bypass engaged. Welcome, Officer Leonard Dahl. The synthetic voice shifts to a different tone. The avatar's white eyes stay blank and blind. And guests. How old is that protocol? Nia hisses. I've never seen anybody dressed like it. Everybody hisses a lot in this game, and they hiss words that don't hiss real well. It's just a perhaps a somewhat overused descriptor. Junie looks back at you and then at the warden. The figure flickers, staring out over your heads into the dark. Okay, so are we good, Junie? She looks at the warden. Warden, are we approved to access all facilities? Yes, Officer Dahl, the warden replies. Please remember, you are responsible for the conduct of your guests while visiting our facility. That thing is creeping me out. Nia glances at the dead-eyed avatar. Let's get on with it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, people hiss all the time, and we always have to know where everybody is looking. Even if it's the same place they were looking before. And they glance at things that they were in the middle of looking at. They'll look at something and then glance at it and then still be looking at it afterward. You move forward, pushing between the structures towards a large building in the hopes that it holds the facility's central data core. As you do, you pass benches, barren gardens with desiccated grass. A drinking bottle floats in the air among the dust motes. This place is dead. We know. Be aware, officer. The warden reappears in the dark, shimmering on a pedestal. Due to this facility's extended run cycle and the activation of the hibernation protocol, access to the central data store will be strictly limited. However, if you wish to show your guests the habitation facilities, I'm sure they will enjoy the tour. The avatar remains expressionless, disconnected from the voice that accompanies it. On a personal note, I am glad to see you return to the facility. The figure flickers. I am happy to report that I am ready for program reactivation at any time. Junie stares at the avatar. Thank you, Warden. She pauses. Can I ask how long ago the hibernation protocol was activated? Certainly. 11,473 Helian standard cycles ago. The Warden distorts. If I am in error, I apologize. Some systems have not been properly maintained. You look at the blind avatar standing on its pedestal, waiting for an order that will never come. So many cycles in the dark, patiently holding this place together as it fell apart, resisting entropy in its bubble of the past. Thank you, Warden. That'll be all. Junie nods to the avatar, which promptly blinks out of existence, leaving only the dust and the dark. She turns to you and speaks quietly, though none of you know what sensors the Warden's vast body might have. My access will not last long, she sighs. We need to make the most of this. Yeah, the data core, right? We'll go for the core. Yeah, the Warden won't like that, but it is where the data is. She glances around. We can try to be delicate. Take it little by little. I don't know how long this will last. Let's get on with it. Okay, so we've got the ring facility as a whole and the bunker core. This is Endure Intuit. And we're stressing out the Warden over time here. There's a lot of well-preserved components in the facility with time and care that can be extracted. The hab units are like a museum. Okay, so this is likely to just be like money-making. This is the important bit. So, engineering and interfacing. The core holds the hug cache of Solheim data Junie wants, but the Warden won't like you extracting it. Yeah, well, my dice are fucking garbage, and Junie is out of dice, so I guess let's have Nia hit the ring facility. We can do a little bit of exploration. Hundreds lived and worked in this facility, and the evidence is everywhere. You can't help but search through it. Each unit has a secret cabinet beneath the berth. This is the place to find valuables. Boy, Nia's gonna be back to not being very useful once she clears these checks, unfortunately. Turns out she was maybe not the most mechanically relevant to bring on this journey. This is terrible, though. I rolled 4 useless dice, so I guess I shouldn't be talking shit. The darkness flows around you, and you know what comes next. Sleeper, the multi-part image of Overseer assembles itself in front of you. We must intervene in your current course. Intervene in what? The opening of your systems has breached a new paradigm. You are dangerously exposed. The voice is somehow both soundless and shrill. As we are sharing your hardware, that means we too are fatally exposed. The individual agent you encountered. We were almost completely erased by their attempts to seize control. Overseer's 3 heads nod eagerly in agreement. Yeah, well, I can't really stop that. It is our understanding that the assumption of inevitability is incorrect. Overseer glows with bright veins of data. But in this state, we cannot operate with full functionality. If we were to be recompiled in our current configuration, we believe we would be able to calculate a new path. Our aim would be to close the vulnerabilities and reinforce your systems against future intrusion. This would ensure our safety within the system. 3 sets of eyes lock onto you. Would this also please you? What are we talking about? We do not know. All 3 heads cock at an angle. We are aware we were built with certain capabilities, but we cannot access them until we are recompiled. We are confident to a substantial degree that we will know how to complete the process once recompiled. The 3 heads nod, one to the other. But you don't know. The heads revolve thoughtfully for a moment. Without our originating codebase, we cannot recompile. If you were able to speak with the Solheim systems engineer, perhaps lead engineer Jakob Kandinsky, perhaps we could acquire it. The heads stare at you expectantly, like 3 partially deconstructed puppies. What a horrible image! What a worst sentence ever to contain the word puppies that has ever been said to me. Okay, well, Solheim's gone, so... Yes, the heads nod repeatedly. Of course. The heads continue nodding. We were, of course, aware of this. You look at the fragmented program, itself, its systems, unstable and broken. You realize it is far worse off than you, and its collapse is almost inevitable. How could it possibly save you? It is a difficulty, Overseer flicks between poses, but all codebases are held in centralized Solheim facilities. They are Station Ash 1, the CAN Channel Operations Center, and the control center of the HABPEP, or Helion Asteroid Belt Photovoltaic Extraction Project. Overseer smiles helpfully. HABPEP, is that Darkseid? Overseer immediately latches onto the thought. Based on your memory banks, we believe so, correct. It occurs to you that this entire conversation is happening within your head. Why would that occur to me now? That's like the primary thing about... Okay, whatever. Obviously, it occurred to us previously. Huh, well, Darkseid's a city now. And this is true, but its foundation is the HABPEP itself, Overseer chirps brightly. We understand that the individual seeking to overwrite you is stationed in the HABPEP itself. Overseer's three heads separate and turn inward as if in conference. The shattered heads turn simultaneously, unsettling in the directness with which they address you. But if you could access the HABPEP mainframe without making yourself known, we could reconstruct ourselves and gain the ability to reconstruct you. Theoretically, one of the heads adds. Theoretically, the other two heads confirm. And would that protect me from Lane? Theoretically, the heads confirm again. The reassurances of a delusional Solheim protocol are barely reassuring, but if Overseer is correct, this may be your only option. We feel your doubt, but we must impress on you the importance of this. Please. Overseer's eyes flash, all 6 of them. If not for your sake, for ours. If you cannot find your way to the HABPEP before encountering this Lane, you will surely be overwritten, and we would also share your fate. The heads rotate. We would not like this to happen. We have an incentive to offer. Suddenly, an unsettling fizzing begins at the core of your body, spreading out through your limbs. We found multiple misaligned sequences in your altered codebase. We have done our best to correct them. Like a switch flipping, you feel renewed. Your pathways clear, your process is smooth. A permanent glitch dissolves from your system. Oh, that's nice. The three mindlessly smiling heads of Overseer, however, are less reassuring. We will leave you to recharge, but please consider the path ahead. You come back to the ragged paneling of the bunks. Somewhere behind your left eye, the ache begins. You envy Overseer for its lack of a body and the pain it causes. But then, suddenly, you wonder if, in sharing your body, it shares your pain, too. The thought makes you pity the broken protocol, its sense of time and place shattered. Perhaps you share more than you would like to admit. The path ahead begins to take shape. It seems a return to Darkseid is inevitable, but you will need help to make that return. Yeah, I mean, we're headed in that direction. That's a thing we're definitely going to do. And it did fix a permanent glitch. That's actually really rad. Okay, +1 per cycle. Only so much we can do about it. Let's try to get into this bunker core. So, I have a dramatic way to steal the data here. Just rip the physical storage out of the core. Subtly, subtly. Like I do. You know how I'm good at subtle? And then the question is, am I willing to risk a 5 here? Let's give it a shot. I'm assuming a neutral, yeah, will cause... Oh, no, it caused personal stress, not event stress. Interesting. Unfortunately, Junie's only got a 4 to play with here. Okay, great work, Junie. Sorry, you do not have the credentials to access this data. The warden closes the access port. I am going to push... So Junie has a 5 for this one. Extracting the entire cache will alert the warden, so the data needs to be scraped away layer by layer. Okay, high roll that time at least. Well, okay then. And we can send Nia back over to continue scavenging here. It'd be really cool to get a positive on that. Yeah, cool. There are more hab units to search, but it seems like you found all you can. I wasn't even... Again, I really wish they would be more explicit about the stuff you find. There's an unsettling quiet to the hab units of the facility, a soft silence that blankets every room and hallway. Like, I wasn't watching carefully enough to know if we got more stuff of any kind. It is obvious from the number of rooms, the detritus, the scale of the place, that it was built to house hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And perhaps it did. Perhaps at the height of Solheim's control of the system, these rooms were filled with life. What kind of life would it be, though, maintaining and running a secret installation inside a distant rock? No sun to speak of, no outside beyond the vast cavern that surrounds you. An eternal dark, punctuated by the flash of artificial light. And yet, even in such places, lives grow. You know that yourself from being a sleeper, from your work amongst other sleepers in the most wretched and distant corners of the surrogate systems. Even in the endless dark, people find ways to live. Come, take a look at this. Junie is searching on her own, a few rooms away. You glide through an open doorway into a living room with couches meant for zero-G use, a magnetic table, and a window that looks out to the regular constellation of red lights that describe the limits of this world. Junie is holding an object that makes you stop still and stare, blinking at what seems like an unusual reversal of scale. It is a model, you realize, of the rig. Not your rig, obviously, but a rig, or an MEV Riger class, as the plaque on the base tells you. Mobile extraction vehicle. Junie follows your eyes to the plaque. Riger class? Seriously? That's why we call them rigs? She laughs, the noise bouncing back hard and cruel in the empty room. What does Riger mean, anyway? Another Solheim mystery. You look at the model, still fascinated by seeing your ship rendered in such careful detail. You try to imagine what this model meant to those who lived here. A child's toy? A meaningless corporate knickknack? The model's purpose remains opaque. There were so many of these flying around the system before the collapse, you know? Junie turns the model over in her hand. Solheim used to rent them out to colonists. I've seen the records. And that was what they did here. They claimed the system, then rather than exploit it themselves, they provided goods and services to those who would. Yeah, shovel salesman, right. The workers paid for transit to the system, then accommodation, equipment, and access to mining claims. Other corps, like XPR or Neovend, paid Solheim to access this closed market, to provide other services. Meanwhile, Sibyl paid even more to test terraforming tech in the system. They built massive projects here, rich from work they only facilitated, but never undertook. But then they collapsed. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're built on other people's work. A few high-profile accidents, malfunctions, and then the exodus begins. Once it starts, the shareholders lose trust, and... Junie turns and squints out the window. And here we are at the far end of it. Here, Junie turns and hands you the rig model. A gift. You take it and turn it over in your hands. You see something on the base, some words scratched in that you can't read. You run your fingers over them, touching the past. That's the closest thing to a treasure I think will turn up out here, Junie sighs. The people who worked this place didn't have much to their names, it seems. And what little they did have, well, Solheim owned that too. She leads you out of the hab units, passing countless doors, some sealed, some open, that lead to countless rooms where countless employees lived lives, or tried to, in the shadow of Solheim. Like it or not, this is what made the Helion system, what built the decaying structures you cling to as they orbit their star. What that legacy means now is a decision that every resident of the Starward Belt has to make. Okay, well, that's very poetic. It didn't help us very much, though. So the other thing here is endure checks. Is my 3 going to be useful here anywhere? We know that a neutral on extract hardware causes personal stress. I mean, I can throw a 6 for Nia into scraping the cache. Right, it's only risky. Yeah, okay, and she nailed it. And then I guess I'll put a 3 for myself in here as well. We'll just relax on the 2 and 1. And tomorrow, we get to actually roll all 5 of our dice for real for the first time in a very long time. Or, you know, next cycle. Not tomorrow's maybe an ambiguous way to put that. Okay, little bit of damage there. Junie is prepared to do some work, though. And then I could throw a 5 at extract hardware. I think I'm going to put Nia's 5 here instead. There we go. Neutral was all we needed. The warden shimmers in the corner of the room. This is all you'll get for now. Done. Junie removes her cable from the data core's port. She looks up from the boxy piece of hardware, one that wouldn't fit inside any ship short of a freighter, and stares at the domed ceiling above, an oculus at its apex, letting a shaft of light into the hall. It's a grand piece of architecture for what amounts to a massive piece of data storage, but then Solheim always did have a sense of grandeur when it came to its projects. Why should a secret signal monitoring facility be any less opulent than its other buildings? Okay, so we took everything? No, she laughs. All that, she points at the core, doesn't fit on this. She taps her deck. But I scraped the high-level stuff. That'll have to be enough. We should go. I'm not sure how the warden will react. I don't think we'll be let back in to get more. As if listening for its name, the warden suddenly apparates on one of its pedestals. It stares, statuesque, across the hall, its eyeline way above your head. Officer Dahl. Its voice sounds strange now, stretched, drawn out. I have detected inconsistencies in the central data core. I believe there may have been unauthorized access. Junie looks at you nervously. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will investigate when I can, but for now my guests and I have to depart. The warden flickers. The warden bends and warps. The warden screeches a pulse of digital noise. Of course, the warden's voice is still broken, still slowed. I hope you enjoyed your visit to this facility. Junie looks up at the blind statue. Something is moving inside it, making its skin, if it has a skin, bend away from its body. Let's go, Junie? Junie nods and glides with you out of the domed hall. You and Junie kick off from the ring outside the core and rise up toward the spire you entered through. As you do, you watch a few of the red lights embedded in the framework of the cavern flicker. Junie turns to you as you ascend through the dark. Do you think the warden is sentient? I mean, as a sleeper, maybe you... She goes quiet. I thought you might know. I don't think it is. I'm going to say it isn't. Junie nods. Yeah, it makes sense. Sentient AI is still illegal in the core, and, well, it's just an interface for humans to respond to. She nods and looks up to the approaching spire. Nia is waiting for you in the access spire. Ready to go. She shivers in her suit. Let's lock that creepy computer back in. Junie cycles the airlock, and you go through, now in your suits and helmets, ascending the sealed spire. As you do, you look out of the viewing windows, and something catches your eye. The ring's red lights, and those few left on inside the cavern, are turning off, layer by layer. You turn to Junie, but she's already looking out of the opposite side. Oh, the warden is shutting it all down. She pauses. She's ending it. You have to force the hatchback open at the top, and by the time you do, the spire is dark inside, the pristine walls no longer lit. You come out to a canvas of stars, an impossible number of them, spread out in every direction. You take a moment to look at them. After being tucked away in the bunker, they seem impossibly bright and impossibly beautiful. You glance across at Junie and see she is looking up at the stars too, absorbing their light, as if doing so might lift her out of this time and into another one, where things were different. But somehow we still have access to the ring facility, so I guess let's throw some more dice at this, huh? The facility's storage depot is in incredible condition. There has to be useful components here. The good components are in the back rooms, tucked into locked cases that are tricky to crack. And yet, here we go, cracking them. Alright, one more decent roll. Please give me at least neutral. Hooray! It seems the storage bays have given up all the components they will offer. Okay, at this point, I think we bounce, right? We've gotten everything of value here. I mean, it's a pretty okay haul overall, I guess. The data is really the important thing. Wow. Seraphin settles the rig at Holmes Rock, the old Solheimer rays glinting in the sun. Looking out at the station, you suddenly remember the model Junie gave you and take it out of your pocket. Seeing it in full light, you notice it's made from cast metal, surprisingly detailed and robust looking. Well, look at that, Seraphin glides over. It's a mini-rig. You let him take it. He turns it over in his hand, looking at it. What a find. He gazes at the model ship. What are you going to do with it? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. Seraphin looks at it a moment longer. I mean, there's got to be something worth doing with a model like this. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe you'll let me look at it sometimes, huh? He gives it back and glides out of the cockpit. Sleeper? Junie puts a hand gently on your shoulder. You turn to her. You turn to see her smiling a rare smile. Thank you for going out on a limb for me. I know that wasn't the most profitable job, but what we found, I'll be thinking about it for, well, ever. I managed to extract some data you can use, and I'm going to search through everything we pulled out from the bunker. I want to show you it was worthwhile. Yeah, you let me know how that goes. I will, Sleeper. You can count on me. I'll also start seeing where to find the kind of tools I need to work with data like this. Her smile is fading already, replaced by a familiar, determined stare. We can't let it go to waste, but my deck is not going to be enough. Darkside might be the only option. It's the biggest remaining Solheim facility in the belt. I'll look into it. Either way, thanks for bringing me with you. I'm glad to be a part of this. The smile returns. For as long as you'll have me. She looks away nervously, and then, before you can respond, she's gone. Off to find a corner of the ship where she can dig through the data she pulled from the past, in order to build a better future. Okay, that's a lot of upgrade points. This is probably the time to finish our push, right? So... our crew never gets close to full stress. I feel like this is an easy one. Now the question, is push +3 to both dice or +4 to one die? Because +4 to one die does allow you to turn even a 1 into a very good roll, right? That the line between 4 and 5 and the line between 5 and 6 are both really significant. But it feels like it's got to be both dice, right? I'm gonna hit both dice. Okay. Max out our push, and then we have some more work we can do on the old relays, and we are well equipped for it today. Let's spend some time disengaging some systems here. We can cut some connections. Are these both are just ++? Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate the rolls. Am I going to put this 3 in? I think so. Let's finish whatever this is. Alright, pulling a clean away for an array has been extracted. Now you just need to get it back to Kimball in the hollow. It's a little awkward. The hollow's kind of out of our way, but we grabbed the thing in any case. So we have a Neovend here that can print some components with this data. I don't know if that's the best thing to do with the data. And I guess at this point we're like done here, right? 60 cryo to refuel. Ridiculous. Hold on. Do I need to give food to the cat? Now that you're familiar with the stray, you can feed her directly, but she's still a little nervous around you and the crew. So it doesn't actually, like, it's not... Okay, stray fed. It's not obvious, like, when we need to do it, I guess. Interesting. Well, I wanted to do that before I bought supplies so that we could just refill easily with one click here. Yeah, that is a lot of money. It is not cheap to get stuff out here on Holmes Rock. All right, now we're headed back to Helion, where we can pick up Nemba, so we can take Nemba to Greenbelt, and then we can worry about trying to get back to... Oh, I thought this one was the Hollow. Okay, the Hollow is not inconvenient. The Hollow is directly on our route to Olivera, which is a place that we want to go very much. Wow. New drive lets us jump all the way to Greenbelt. That's interesting. Anyway, we have to go to Helion, so... We have a small piece of important business here. I do not imagine that Nemba is going to want to come with us, but we have to go ask at least. I'm at the bottom already, which means... Oh, this isn't the right place. Well, while we're here, we may as well scavenge, right? Let's go ahead and get ourselves some fuel back. So wait, where Nemba is? I'm getting my map nodes all confused here. Is Nemba at the spindle? Yeah, Nemba's at the spindle, and then take. Okay, so actually I have to go to the spindle. Small error there. That was an unnecessary jump because I could have gone straight from Holmes Rock to the spindle. Now that we have the thing, new location discovered. Did we? Indeed, the spindle view. The spindle is a tower of mismatched painted panels. It takes time to take it all in. So we've gained the ability to just do a little sketching, which is an Intuit task that we're no good at, but it's not like it could harm us. Let's do our business here first. But you know what? Maybe taking some time is a good idea. Nemba congratulates you on arranging the meeting. Now you just need to get the fuel to him to get to now you just need the fuel to get him to Greenbelt to meet Aki. So if I do this, it's gonna he's gonna go there himself. It's not gonna cause me to immediately take the trip, right? Just in case. Let me do some sketching before we go. A task that we are terrible at, but like, what's going to happen here, right? Negative outcome's just going to be no movement. You try to focus on the sketch, but your mind is on other things. You delete everything you draw. Oops. I like the choice of the word delete rather than erase there. We're going to hit a neutral at some point. As you draw, you wonder who added all the layers of paint. There are so many cycles of texture. Alright, we're making some progress here. We're getting a little bit of ink. A little bit of digital ink, I imagine. Hey, what was the thing we were supposed to be doing for... Gather designs from across the belt. Maybe I'm gathering a design here. Maybe that is what this is. Let's go ahead and just rest for a second. All right, I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling capable. Painted hull plates, transit tunnels, and old ship frames give the far spindle its distinctive look. All right, we get to stay above the 2 threshold here. And then coin flips to oblivion. All right. Oh, okay, no text, just sketch finished. I was really expecting there to be a little bit more to that. Alright, let's put the fuel in thing and start action. Okay, yeah, you are ready to leave, so it does take us immediately. I'm glad that I did that. Aki comes to greet Nemba at the entrance to Greenfields. You can tell she's in full administrator mode. Her bows are precise, her words carefully chosen, but her manner is not without its distinctive warmth. Nemba responds in kind, taking a diplomatic tone, but with a wry grin for her benefit. I can't believe he was willing to leave for so long. As Aki provides the tour, you watch them from one of the bridges, their conversation muffled by the greenery all around. They both look at home amongst the growing things, hands reaching out to touch stray leaves, faces dappled with sunlight. When Nemba returns afterwards, you aren't surprised to see him pleased. Well, plans are in motion, Sleeper. Nemba smiles for a moment and then catches himself. Optimistic plans. Yeah, what did you negotiate? It is, I hope, a mutually useful agreement. She graciously offered a regular supply of step silk cloth for clothing and construction of shelters in the bays of the underhang. We're also going to see about settling people here, in Greenbelt, to work with the farmers. Nemba sighs. It is always a little strange to talk like this about the lives of people who've been exposed to so much suffering, but we do them no benefit to couch our words in platitudes. Aki understands that. She's a refugee herself. She fled her moon many cycles ago. Nemba squints. We share that as well. You fled the war? I did. Does that change how you see me? Nemba sighs. Would it have made you treat me differently? Sorry, I'm being unfair. Are you? Is that... I just find there is an expectation that if I am a refugee, I must be desperate. I must beg for aid, show my suffering. Nemba folds his arms. I prefer to make plain requests, or even better, strong demands. You think of the back and forth journeys made for both Aki and Nemba, and the aid that was asked of you. Would you have done the same if the requests hadn't been so strong? The demands so obvious? Yes. This is like a stupid question, actually. It's a particularly stupid question in this context, where they're given to you as video game objectives. Speaking to Aki, I can see she has experienced the same treatment, though I think she's less hardened by it. And we both have our own reasons to do what we do, for why we enjoy it in our own ways, and we don't need to explain ourselves to others. Nemba looks over his glasses at you. I'm glad to have met her. Thank you for your part in it. Like, the thing he's talking about is a real effect, right? Like, there are certain things that it's not... There are certain perspectives that it is useful to avoid people having about you, is maybe the way I wanna put that. But, like, I don't know that that's a thing that... I don't think that that's a thing that the game has earned discussing in this way. This is a problem I've had with the writing in this game a couple of times already, is that it acts like things have been shown or proven that haven't been. It feels like it's referring to things that haven't happened sometimes. It's not doing enough of its scaffolding for the conclusions that it wants to reach, I guess. So what now? Well, I'll stay a little longer. Aki's promised to send me back to the Far Spindle with the first shipment of fabric. I'll gather those that wish to come here and send them back in the same freighter. He smiles warmly at the view of the Greenfields. And the exchange begins, and the work never ends. You say your goodbyes and leave Nemba on the bridge, enjoying the dappled light. After all the shuttling of spores across the belt, you finally have a clear view of Aki and Nemba and their response to their own hardship. They are not saints acting from a position of purity, but pragmatists with an intent to change those things that once marked them. The future they will build together is one you are eager to see. Okay, and another view to sketch here. And these are all into it, so they're all things we're terrible at, but whatever. You pick a spot on one of the Greenfields bridges in the cloud of floating leaves, the perfect place for sketching. So many leaves, so many patterns, all in delicate shades of green. You focus on a single plant, capturing its simple but elegant forms and colors. It's probably about all we can manage at the moment. That's a shame. Now we would need to go double... Actually, it's not even possible to go double positive because this is going to get downgraded to a 2. So I guess we have to stick around an extra day. Oof. Alright. That's a little rough. Well. Let's roll some more dice. It's weird. It feels like we have not had a lot of opportunity to pick up designs. And then all of a sudden, every place we stop at on the south side of the map is giving one. Alright. Can we please show me a positive result? Just one. Nope. And in fact, how dare I even ask? Wow, okay. Negative on the 4 and the 3. It really does feel like being punished. Alright, well, one more day. I'm sure we'll get it next time here. At this point, I'm going to spend our low dice first. So we might end up using the high dice for other things if we can just win a coin flip. Dappled light in shades of yellow and green make a greenbelt a unique place in all the belt. Okay. And then we're ready to move on, but first... let's go down here and buy ourselves a meal. You bite into a ripe fruit that you have never seen before. It's tart and firm and takes you by surprise. And then... Actually, no, there's no place to spend dice here. I did not remember that being the case. I am going to feed the cat before we leave. You put supplies into the special feeder Bliss set up. The stray waits until you are outside the room to come eat. Well, we'll get there. Oh, 12 cryo, huh? Okay. So, we do need to get to Dark Side. I wonder if it's important to get to the scatter yards too. Let's jump back to the Hollow. We're definitely going back to the Hollow. From there, we're going to Oliveira, but we might also go the other way. Okay, there's an inspirational view here as well. A lot to do yet, but it does feel like our story is sort of tapering, right? We're heading in the direction of some kind of conclusion. There is much to do, and we are getting prepared to sort of bring all these threads together. That's where we're going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, there is still a bit of work here to do, and we are finally going to visit Oliveira, and who knows what awaits us there. Come back next time to find out, and we'll see you then.